The crowd was loud, drunk on power and money. It was the outer fringe market where laws did not exist, and lives were bought and sold like junk. In the center of the platform stood a girl, not human, not fully alien either. Her skin shimmered faintly like silver under the harsh lights. She was thin, skin and bones, barely clothed. Her arms were stretched above her head, chained to a tall metal post. The chain clinked when she moved, and the sound made the crowd cheer. "Another show, eh?" One merchant barked, slapping his friend's back. "Let's see if she screams today." They threw food at her, laughed at her silence. But she didn't cry. She just stood there, shoulders shaking, but her eyes, they kept searching. That's when she saw him. A human, just one. He stood near the back, arms crossed, face blank, no laughter. No drink in hand, just watching, her lips parted. Shh. She looked. At him, straight into his eyes, and whispered, just loud enough to reach him through the noise. "Claim me, or I'll suffer here until I break." He blinked. Did she just speak? Others didn't seem to notice. The crowd kept laughing, throwing things. But he had heard her voice. Weak, trembling. But it wasn't begging. It was a warning. He stepped closer. The auctioneer saw him. "You there, human?" The alien announcer grinned, teeth yellow and sharp. "You like what you see? She's not for sale. She's our fun." The crowd cheered louder. A nearby merchant hit a button. The chain above her glowed red. Electricity ran down the links and into her body. Her knees gave out. But she didn't scream. She only looked at the human again, even as her body shook from the pain. "I said, claim me," she whispered again. "Only you can." The human took a step back. Who was she? Why him? He had seen many. Things in war, pain, cruelty, slavery. But this girl. This was different. She was barely alive. And yet something about her felt ... wrong, not weak, not helpless, contained. He turned to leave. It wasn't his fight. Then he heard it. Crackle. He turned around just in time to see her chains flicker, not from the machine, but from her. A faint glow, coming from her wrists. Not metal, not normal. She looked up, her voice sharper now. "If you walk away, the chains will stay forever." This time, the glow moved to her eyes. The human froze. He'd seen energy like that only once. Before, on a battlefield, years ago, when a secret human-alien alliance had tried to unlock a weapon. A living one. A girl who burned too hot to control. A girl, they said, died. He looked at her again. The chains hummed louder. The crowd stepped back, confused. They thought it was part of the show, but it wasn't. The girl collapsed again. Her head hung low, hair falling over her face. Her knees hit the platform hard. Still, no scream. One of the merchants walked up to her, annoyed. "Stupid girl, ruined the fun." He raised a long, spiked stick and hit her back hard. The human moved without thinking. He rushed forward, caught the merchant's arm mid-air. The merchant growled. "You want her, human? Go back to your earth hole." And a loud snap silenced the market. The chain on her left wrist broke. Not from damage. From power. Her head slowly rose again. This time her eyes weren't weak. Burned. Everyone stepped back. Some began to panic. "She's waking up." Someone shouted. Another merchant pulled out a stunner. "Put her down before she blows." The human didn't move. His eyes locked with hers. He saw something in her then, not a weapon, not a slave. Prisoner. And she didn't want to destroy anyone. She just didn't want to die in chains. The human grabbed her arm. "Come with me." Her legs couldn't hold. She collapsed against him, breath shaking, but her voice was steady now. "You touched me. That means it started." He looked down at his hand. Her skin glowed where he held her. "What started?" he asked. She looked at the broken chain. The bond, the ground beneath them shook. Her power was leaking. The merchants ran, screaming, some firing blindly. The human didn't look back. He carried her, stepping off the platform. His ship wasn't far if they could make it out then the second. Chain snapped. The lights in the bazaar went out. And in the darkness. Her voice returned. "They called it entertainment," she whispered. "But now it's judgment." Asterisk. Human didn't speak for a long time. He sat alone inside his ship, staring at the empty medbed. She wasn't there anymore. She had disappeared just hours after he brought her back from the market. No alarms had gone off, no doors forced open. She had simply vanished. But the glowing handprint on his forearm was still there. Faint but warm. It pulsed every few seconds, like a slow heartbeat hers. He remembered how light had exploded from her chains, how she collapsed into his arms, how her voice whispered of a bond. But he hadn't agreed to anything, had he? He walked to the cockpit. Stars drifted outside. The station behind him was silent. No merchant ships, no market noise. After the explosion, most of them ran. Some didn't make it. His console beeped. A strange signal was playing on loop, soft static with a whisper inside. Barely audible, he adjusted the dial. The whisper became a word. Back. He leaned forward. Who's there? The whisper didn't answer. Instead, a series of coordinates appeared on the screen. Unregistered space. Empty. No known routes. Dangerous. But the pulse in his forearm quickened, as if guiding him. He had a choice. Go, or forget her. He powered up the ship. 2 hours later, he reached the location.
Oh.
Nothing showed up on sensors. No ships, no debris. Just cold dark. But then something passed in front of his ship. A shape, smooth like black metal. Big, he turned on external lights and froze. A vessel was sitting still in space, silent, ancient-looking, covered in markings. He couldn't read. It wasn't powered. No lights, no signals. But it was there, and someone had scratched a symbol into its side. A human handprint. His forearm burned. That was enough. He suited up and stepped out into the black, inside the vessel. It was cold and silent. The doors opened with a hiss, like they'd been waiting. The hallway was long and narrow. Strange glowing threads ran along the walls, not wires, not tech. Alive, he followed them. Then he saw her. She stood in the center of a small chamber, back-facing him. Her skin glowed softly, the same silver shimmer he remembered, but stronger now. She didn't turn around. You came, she said. He stepped. Closer. Where are we? She whispered. The floor lit up beneath her feet. This ship belonged to my kind. Before the chains, before the traders, we were builders, dreamers, protectors. He watched as her body wavered, like light reflecting off water. They captured me, she continued, because I was the last, because I wouldn't fight. She turned around, but her face had changed. It was still her same eyes, same lips, but now it looked older, wiser, as if something ancient had awakened inside. He stepped back. What are you? I'm still her, she said softly. I am more now. He looked at her glowing body. Why me? Why bond with a human? Because humans were the only ones who ever believed in choice, she said. The others just wanted power. He shook his head. I didn't choose this. You touched me, she said. That was enough. The floor beneath him lit up too. Suddenly a memory flashed in his mind, but it wasn't his. It was hers. Pain, chains, screams, fire. A burning city. A human soldier picking up a wounded girl and walking into the dark. His knees buckled. The memory passed. What was that? He gasped. A fragment, she said. The bond shares memory. Emotion. Truth. He stood slowly. What now? She stepped closer. Now, you decide. Decide what? If you leave, the bond will break and I'll fade. This ship, this power, it only wakes if I am claimed, not owned, not forced, but chosen. He looked at her for a long time. Outside the ship, the stars shifted. A new signal appeared on his console this time. Warning. Multiple ships approaching. Armed, scanning. Someone else had. Picked up her spark, and they were coming fast. She placed her hand on his. If you stay, they will hunt you too. He looked. Into her eyes, no chains, no lies. Only truth. I'm already part of this, he said. She smiled, and the ship woke up. The ship trembled. It wasn't fear, it was waking up. He felt it under his boots like a heartbeat growing louder. The strange alien vessel, dead for who knows how long, was alive again, and it wasn't from engines or fuel. It was because of her. She stood calmly in the glowing chamber. Arms down now, no chains, no fear. But power shimmered across her skin like fire underwater. He looked around. The walls of the room moved, not like machines, but like muscles, alive, reacting. To her, "What is this place?" he asked. She turned to him, a core. "Where my people stored everything they feared to forget." Everything. Weapons, secrets, mistakes. He stared at her. "Why bring me here?" "Because what comes next needs both of us." Suddenly, a deep metallic groan echoed through the walls. She turned sharply. "They've breached the outer layer," she said. He rushed to the console. The display lit up in alien symbols, then slowly reshaped into human text, as if the ship was learning for him. "Unregistered enemy ships. 3 boarding craft inbound. We need to run," he said. She didn't move. "Act." "The hold is locked." "From within, what hold?" She placed her hand on the floor. The room shifted. A circular hatch opened beneath them. He looked down and froze. Below was a chamber filled with strange things. Some looked like weapons, others like bodies. Sleeping bodies. Creatures in glass tanks. Machines that hummed even in sleep. And at the center, a sphere floating above the floor, pulsing red. What is all this? She stepped down into the dark, and he followed. "This is the forbidden hold. My people built it to hide the things we didn't want the galaxy to ever see again." He walked past the tanks. One creature opened its eye as he passed, but didn't move. "These aren't just weapons," he whispered. "No," she said. "They're memories." She stopped in front of the red sphere. "This," she said, "is the last of our defense systems. But it needs a trigger." He looked at her. "Me?" "No," she said. "Us. It takes 2. A mind born of pain and a heart willing to act." The ship shook again. A voice buzzed over the internal comes, deep, mechanical, unidentified. "Alien ship, you are surrounded. Power down. Surrender, you're bonded." "We know what she is." She looked up at him. "You still have time to run," she said. He laughed once. "Too late for that?" Then she held out her hand. "Then choose. Bond deeper, or we both die here." He reached out. Their hands touched. The red sphere cracked. A burst of light shot out and hit his chest. Light. It didn't burn. It opened. He saw her memories flood into him, her world before chains, her people flying cities across stars, her mother's final breath as their empire fell. He gasped and then saw something else. His own memory. He was young, alone, crying near. Wreckage. A hand touched his back, not human. Her hand she had saved him before and wiped his memory. He stumbled back, breath caught in his throat. You saved me when I was a child." She nodded. "And now you saved me." The bond was always waiting. The walls of the chamber turned gold. Outside, the attackers docked. Inside, the sphere glowed brighter. Then the ship spoke in a voice not human, not hers, but both. "The bond is complete." All at once, the creatures in the tanks opened their eyes. The door above them slammed shut, and the red sphere pulsed once more, then shattered, not into dust, but into a wave of energy that swept through the entire vessel. The forbidden hold was no longer silent. It was armed. Asterisk, the red light faded. For a moment, silence returned to the alien vessel. No alarms, no engines. No noise, just the sound of 2 breaths, his and hers, echoing through the forbidden hold. Then the walls began to whisper. Not loud, not clear, just fragments. Pain bonded, she remembers. The human looked around, tense. "What is that?" "The ship," she whispered. "It remembers what was done to me." what I was. Before the chains? He stared at her, unsure. Before the chains. You mean before you were captured? She slowly shook her head. No, I mean before I was made. The room pulsed with golden light. She stepped forward, touching a strange metallic pillar, hissed, and opened, revealing a thick black band, her old chain. But it wasn't metal. It was living. It moved slightly, like a snake sensing warmth. That chain didn't just hold me, she said quietly. It created me. I was part of a program, a living weapon designed by my people to protect the stars. But something went wrong. He looked at the band closely. The texture was rough, like old bark, but every few seconds, it flickered. With memory, you weren't born? He asked. Not in the way you understand, she replied. They needed protectors who couldn't be corrupted, so they made us, and then chained us to control our minds. The whispers returned. She was the first and the last. He touched the glowing wall beside him. Suddenly, his vision blurred, and then he saw it. Not a memory, a truth. She stood in a massive hall, surrounded by others like her, tall, glowing, with chains wrapped around their arms and necks. At the front, her creators chanted in a language he didn't understand. Then, one by one, the protectors began to fall, screaming, breaking, until only she remained. She didn't scream. She survived. Then she was sealed, hidden, sold, forgotten. Memory ended. He staggered back. They made you strong, he said, breathing hard, then feared you when you wouldn't break. She looked up. The chains were never punishment. They were safety for them, not for me. Suddenly alarms blared across the ship. The main console flickered. Breach in Deck 7. Unknown bioforms detected. They're here, he said. She nodded. But they're not just after me. They want the chain's design. The power to make more like me. He read the display. Something had triggered inside the ship. Security doors locking. Defense weapons charging. And then one word appeared. Unlock. Memory core. He hesitated. She said, if we open the memory core, we'll see everything they erased. But there's a cost. What cost? She placed a hand over his heart. The bond goes deeper. We'll feel each other's pain. If I die, so do you. He stared at her glowing hand, still marked with ancient lines. He thought of the girl in chains, then the girl who woke a ship with her voice. He nodded. Do it. She closed her eyes. The walls cracked open like veins breaking. A bright blue orb rose from the center of the floor, spinning, pulsing. Alive images filled the chamber battles, betrayals, broken chains, and voices crying out. Across galaxies, then a face appeared. Not hers, not his, but human, a general, wearing Earth's insignia. Standing beside her creators, he whispered, That's my grandfather. She turned to him, eyes wide. You were part of it. You were always part of it. His heart dropped.
I know. I don't know.
Your bloodline helped design the bonds, she said. And now, you broke them. The ground shook again. The screen flashed. External weapons, locked on target. Time to impact, 120 seconds. She looked up. Then it's time to decide again. He clenched his fists. I was born from people who built your prison, he said. Now I'll be the one to burn it down. The memory core flashed, not with pain now, but acceptance. The chains remembered everything. But now, they were changing. They no longer wrapped her body. They circled them both in light. Asterisk. The countdown had begun. Time to impact. 90 seconds. The ship's ancient walls pulsed red, warning of incoming fire. Outside, enemy warships circled like vultures. They weren't just mercenaries. They were hired by those who once chained her, and they were ready to destroy everything to stop her awakening. But inside the forbidden hold, something had changed. The chain no longer clung to her wrists. It floated alive, glowing like molten gold, spinning around both of them. The human felt it wrapping near his chest, not as a trap, but like armor forming from light. He didn't flinch. She stood beside him, stronger now. her back straight, eyes fierce. "You feel it now, don't you?" she said. He nodded, like, ... fire in my blood. She placed a hand on the chain and the ship responded. The walls shifted, lights turning from red to deep blue. The memory core folded into itself, disappearing safely into the floor. "Then let's show them what the bond really means," she said. He followed her through the glowing halls as alarms screamed. The ship bent to her will, doors opening. Before them, corridors lighting the path. But then they hit a sealed gate. Behind it, a powerful pulse could be felt. "That's the central hangar," she said. "Where they stored the last escape vessel?" He looked around. "Why not just pilot?" This ship was never meant to fly again," she said. "It's a mind, not a machine. It brought you here for a reason. Now it wants you to leave before it burns everything." Boom. A shockwave hit. Metal cracked. Ceiling panels fell. One landed close to him, almost crushing his foot. Time to impact. 45 seconds. Suddenly, the gate opened. But what waited inside wasn't just a ship. It was a creature, twisted, once one of her kind, now corrupted. Metal arms, a mask fused to its face. It had been chained too long, and had turned into a guard dog for the masters. She stepped back. "I know him, friend," the human asked. She shook her head. "Brother." The creature roared and charged. The human pulled his sidearm. Shot once, twice. It didn't work. The thing was too fast, too armored. Then the chain around his chest tightened and glowed. She shouted, "Let it guide you." He raised his hand, and for the first time, energy burst out. A beam of gold slammed into the creature, throwing it across the hangar. Chain was giving him her strength, but not for long. The creature got up, cracked its neck, and leaped again. This time, she ran forward. No weapons, just her hands glowing like suns. She met the creature in the middle, locked in a struggle of light and rage. "Go!" she yelled. "Get to the vessel!" He didn't move. She screamed louder. "If I fall, you carry the spark. You finish what we started." He ran toward the ship. A small craft, sleek, fast. The hatch opened for him, recognizing her bond in his veins. Inside, he powered the controls. Launch sequence armed, waiting for both bonded units. He looked back. She was losing ground. Her brother roared, smashing her into the floor. He ran. Back. No plan. Just fire in his chest. As the creature raised its claw to strike her, the human tackled it from behind. The chain wrapped around both of them, his chest, its throat. "Let her go," he growled. The creature choked, thrashed. Then she stood again, hands glowing. She looked at him, and for the first time smiled. "You really don't give up." "On you," he said. Together, they unleashed the full bond. A blinding blast erupted. The corrupted brother fell. Still, the chain unraveled and returned to them, silent now. No more rage, just purpose. Time to impact. 10 seconds. They rushed into the vessel. The moment the hatch closed, the larger ship, the one with memories and chains, began to, not in pain, in goodbye, from space. The warships locked onto the alien vessel, but before they could fire, the ancient ship sent out one last wave of energy, a shock signal, shutting down every enemy engine at once, and then it burned. The ship self-destructed in a bloom of gold and fire, erasing all traces of its secrets. Their escape vessels shot out just before the explosion. Inside, she leaned against the wall, breathing hard. He sat across from her, arms still glowing. Heart racing, she whispered, "You didn't leave me." He nodded. "You're not chained anymore." "No," she said. "Now we're bonded." The stars outside the escape vessel were calm. But inside, everything burned. He gripped the edge of the control panel. Breathing hard, his skin was hot, not from fever, not from injury, from something deeper. The bond, it was spreading lines of gold energy pulsed under his skin, crawling from his chest to his neck, down his arms. At first, it had given him strength. Now it felt like fire in his veins. She sat across from him, silent. Her eyes were dimmer, her glow flickering. She watched him carefully, like she already knew. "What's happening to me?" he asked. She didn't answer right away. Then softly, she said, "The chain wasn't meant to be shared. Not fully. It was built to bind. Power, not divide it." He looked at his arm. It sparked again. "So, am I dying?" She shook her head. "No, but you're becoming something else." He stood, panicked. "I didn't agree to this. I only saved you. I didn't ask to. Be changed." She rose slowly, her body weaker now, as if giving him her strength had drained her. "You touched me. That was the first choice. Then you stood by me. That was the second. The bond is not a trap, it's a mirror. It becomes what you are." He backed away, gripping his head. "Then why does it feel like it's killing me?" "Because you're fighting it," she said. "You're still trying to be human, but now you're more, and that's what scares you." The ship jolted. Signal flashed across the dashboard, tracking signal detected. "Incoming ship, one life form aboard." His eyes widened. "Just one." She walked toward the screen. Her body trembled with every step. Then she saw the shape on the scanner. Her voice cracked. "It's her. Who?" She turned to him. "The one who built the first chain." He froze. "You said your people made you." "They did." "Led them. A creator and a monster." The scanner blinked. Vessel docked. Airlock sealed. Life form approaching. He grabbed his weapon, but she placed her hand on his. "Don't. Weapons won't work. She doesn't come to fight." He frowned. "Then why come?" She looked down. "To finish what she started." A soft hiss echoed through the hallway. The airlock door opened slowly. A tall figure stepped through. Not young, not armored. Just calm, wrapped in flowing white robes, skin pale, eyes glowing faintly blue. The woman looked at the bonded pair and smiled. "So," she said, "you survived." Her voice was cold. Like a scientist examining an old project. "You're the one," the human said, stepping in front of her protectively. The woman ignored him. She looked at the girl. "I chained you once to protect us all. And now you've undone centuries of control. For a human." "It's not just a human," the girl replied. "He's the reason I remember who I was." "Who you were," the woman said, "was a danger. That's why we bound your heart to silence. Now it beats too loud." The woman raised her hand, but not to attack. "To offer a choice? Come back with me," she said. "We can restore your balance. Remove the bond. Save his life. Save your mind." The girl looked at the human. He didn't speak, but his burning skin, his clenched jaw, it was all there. She had given him too much. Now she had to decide. Break the bond. The woman whispered, "Or let him burn for you." Her hands trembled. She stepped toward the woman, but only halfway. "No," she said, "I won't go back in chains." The woman's smile faded. "You've made your choice." She turned, walked to the airlock. Before leaving, she looked back. "One last time, the bond will soon burn through you both. When it does, don't call for mercy." She vanished, the door sealed, the silence returned, but inside their bodies. The energy pulsed louder than ever. The human sat down, pale and shaking. The girl sat beside him, placing her hand over his. "It's burning," he whispered. "I know," she said. "But now, we burn together." They were dying, not from wounds, not from war, but from the fire within. The bond had pushed past limits. It wasn't just a connection anymore. It was a fusion. The human lay on the floor of the escape vessel, rising with shallow breaths. His skin pulsed with glowing veins of gold, too bright to be natural. His heart raced too fast, too hot. Beside him, she knelt, weak, pale, fading. Her own glow was nearly gone. She had given him everything now. He was becoming something neither of them fully understood. He reached for her hand. "I don't want to lose you," he said. She smiled softly, brushing hair from his face. "You won't. But this bond," he whispered. "It's killing us both." She looked at him, then beyond him at the control panel. The bond was never meant to last in bodies like ours. Not human, not even mine. "Then what do we do?" She didn't answer right away. Instead, she pulled a small device from the app. wall. It was part of the ancient ship's memory core, something she had hidden before they escaped. A glowing seed of data and power, what is that? He asked. She stared at it, a beginning or an end. Her voice shook. It holds the source code of the chains. Everything they were, everything they could be. We can use it to rewrite what we are. He frowned. Rewrite us? She nodded. If we merge fully, soul, body, memory, we don't burn. We become. He laughed bitterly, coughing. Become what? Some Hephalian hybrid freak? No, she said gently. Something new. He looked into her eyes. She was serious. Scared, yes, but calm. Ready? Will it hurt? He asked. More than anything, she said. But after that, it will never hurt again. He thought of everything. The chains, the fire, the truth about his past. Her creators, her silence, her scream, her eyes when she first whispered, "Claim me, or I'll suffer here." Now they suffered together. He took her hand. Do it. She placed the glowing seed between their chests. It pulsed once, twice, then it shattered, and the universe went white. He floated in silence. No time, no body, only memory. He saw her not as she looked now, but all of her. Her first memory. First breath. The cold feeling of chains. Her brother's scream, the creators watching her in silence. Then his own past returned. The lonely boy in a wreckage, kind hand that pulled him from fire. Hers. Long before he remembered, they had always been connected, even before the chains. The fire returned. But this time, didn't burn, it lifted. And when he opened his eyes, he was still in the vessel. But everything had changed. She stood before him. Whole, not glowing, but radiant. Not just alien, not just energy, something more. And he looked at his own hands, stronger, sharper. His skin wasn't human anymore. It shimmered slightly, but didn't feel wrong. He stood. He didn't hurt. The pain was gone. They looked at each other. You did it? He said. No, she replied. We did it. The ship hummed. New readings flashed across the screen systems. Rebooting, shields forming, power unlike anything before. The escape vessel wasn't small anymore. It was changing, reshaping. Responding to them, they stepped forward together, hands linked, and the chains, those old golden symbols floated around them. But this time they didn't bind. They followed like memories, not prisons. He looked out the window. Stars stretched far beyond. What now? He asked. She looked at the map. Double quotes now. We find others like us, broken, chained, forgotten, and free them? Said. She nodded. No more chains, she whispered. No more silence. He smiled. Then together they stepped forward, and behind them the chains shattered, one by one, into light.